Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Creative Dezine. I can't believe we're already halfway through this season. And today, oh my goodness, I know I say this all the time, but we have a jam-packed sessions because today is all about adding some pizzazz. I can see you're already having fun with that word in the chat um, to our zine. So we will be covering the design cover of our zine. We will also be looking at creating a sticker sheet to add to our zine and postcards. So it will all make sense as we get started. So before we get going, I want to say hi to Oliver, Robert, Kristen, Cody, CJ, Alejandro. Thank you so much for being here with us. So let's jump ahead and look at the presentation that I have for you, which you can also follow along in if you check out the link in the description. I was saying to my folks earlier that I barely made it back from San Francisco. I was in San Francisco last week, and I'm so happy that we are here today so we can do this session. Okay, most important thing of everything is that it stick until the end of the stream because you can get the chance to win this fabulous zine. And it's funny because as I'm always doing this draw, and you think that it's just a digital zine, but no, I'm sending you the physical copy because you have to see all of the amazing specialty printing effects that are in here. There's some golds, there's some like nice neons and spot glass. I mean, it's a feast for the eyes, specifically if you're a printing nerd. So I'm gonna give you a word at the end, and the first one that pops it into the chat will be our winner. So stay tuned for that. All right. If you're new to this stream, what is a zine? Like, again, it's just a small production. It's short for, the word zine is short for magazine. It's basically you make your own rules and you are your own publisher. There's a lot of definitions for it. You can go into a rabbit hole on Google with that. So the project composition decompose, we're going to continue to be within this mindset for the creation of our Pizzazz add-ons today. So we will go right away, just looking through the mood board because we'll get inspired with that for the cover. And if you have missed on how to do the images with Firefly, you can actually go into the description of this stream again, and you can actually go to the first link, which is available to you, where we're covering how to do some visuals. This is the visual identity. This is just like a quick reminder of everything that we have done. And again, I want to just remind you, because this is going to be very important for how we're designing everything today. But the book formatting is saddle stitch. Last stream, I actually forgot the word staples, and that's what I meant by basically a saddle stitch is a long piece of paper that is stitched together with staples in the middle and then folded together. I invite you to watch the second link in the description to get to know all about how to build a zine saddle stitch using the grid. And just a quick reminder, this is what we were able to do using grids, our images, colors, and everything that we had prepped before. It's a journey to do all of this. So cover design. So let's hop in Illustrator. And I also want to mention that if you want to build your own zine, I have all of the templates available to you. So if you download the presentation, you can download all of those files, the files for the pages itself, the cover, the sticker sheets, everything is available to you. All right, so let me just go and hide those. Perfect. So we're going to have to do a little bit of math here. So the zine that we have been working with, the inside pages, they are 7.5 by 5.5 when this is folded. So I'm sorry, this is the opposites. 5.5 is the width, and then the height is 7.5. So whenever we're looking at a book cover, specifically for saddle stitch, actually for any book cover, it is wrapping the whole book. So here I actually have this notebook, which is a saddle stitch, and I've had a little post-it here that says cover and back, right? And if we look at it, if we open it, you can see that it's following, right? It's just one big piece of paper that is wrapping the whole thing. So in order to design the cover, we'll need to think about it in the same way. So back to Illustrator here, it would be, and let's do some math here. Let me actually pull out my calculator. Right here. So the width is 5.5 times 2. So that would be 11 inches. Now we're adding some pizzazz, right? And we have talked about adding some swag to this zine. And with this particular one, I was thinking that postcard would be a great idea. So in order to have a full package, I would like to add a flap inside where you can actually put the postcard in. So like a mini envelope. So for that, I actually want to add another 2.5 inches that's going to come out that will be folded in. And it's going to make sense when everything is pieced together. So I would say plus 2.5 inches. So this is 13.5. So I have already, set this up here. And as you can see here, I have my ruler. If your ruler isn't out, you can just do Command R. And if I actually see this here, this is the bleed, it's at exactly 13.5. I'll need to put some guides in order for me to understand what is what. So if we actually go into the layers panel, which is already there, I'm just gonna click on the eye view here and you're gonna see. So here, this is my inside cover. So this would be the inside cover when you open, inside cover at the end, and this would be the inside of the flap that will be folded. It's going to be the same, but reverse for the cover that you will see when you pick up a book just like that, right? It's like counterintuitive, but these are our guides here, and they will become a score line. So this is for the printer to fold or like put this little dent so it folds better. So let's design quickly the cover. And because we have done the work already, it's really easy for us to do so very quickly, making sure you're on the design layer. And I'm going to just draw a big shape. Just remove the outline. And here, I know that I want to have an image to fill the full cover. I want to create some intrigue, and I find that the images that we have created are really interesting when we actually zoom on them. So we're going to do draw inside, and we're going to place. Draw inside is really fun when you want to either take the brush, pencil, or whatsoever, so you can actually draw inside without it bleeding outside the shape. But you can also bring some images in. So I actually want this one here. It's basically creating a clipping mask before you tell it to clip. How do we download the presentation? This is a great question, Stephanie. So if you see, like, this is a web link that I have made with the PDF presentation. At the bottom, there is an arrow to download. And then from that downloaded PDF, you have access to all of the templates. If you click on the links, they are underlined. All right, so let's just reframe this just so it's there. And to me, this is already a very interesting cover. I have everything already in the library, and I have the logo that we have created right here. Oh, I think I am in trim view. Let's see. I think I don't know why this is not showing up. This is really weird. Let me just copy paste it instead. Perfect. So this is actually upside down. I'm just going to flip it. Oh, I know. I know why I was not seeing it. It's because this is still, see? We're not all perfect designers here. I am still within the box of draw inside. So let me just go back, and I'm going to remove everything. And I want to make sure that I'm going to click outside. There you go. You see, there was some like kind of dashed lines around the shape. That's telling me that I was still in the draw inside, but now I can bring this here. That's the title. Just gonna make it a tad smaller. Here you go. And this is upside down because it's composition decomposed. That is the title. And I just want to make sure that there is no conflict of visibility with the background. So as you can see here, there's not enough contrast. So I can take my direct selection like arrow and just move stuff around to make sure that we're seeing everything properly. This line right here is not only a score line, it's also where everything is folded. So this is the cover that you see at the front, and this would be the back. So quickly, I want to add just like saying that it's copyrighted and I'm the designer of all of this. So for the copyright, you can always go into your glyphs. So if you don't have access to this in your menu, you can go into type and then glyph, and it will appear right here. And if you go at the very bottom, usually you have that copyright signal, not signal, but sign or glyph. That's the proper word. This is not the font that I want to use. So let's change that first. Elsa text. Let's go back into Glyph because I know that there is a copyright in Elsa text. And that is actually something that you should take notice whenever you're deciding to choose a font, specifically for a book publishing. You want to make sure that it has a lot of characters so you don't run into this exact problem that I just ran into. So here you go. This is the copyright. I'm going to write the year and then designed by Izzy Poirier. There you go. I'm going to put that in all caps. And let's just make it a little thicker as well. Perfect. Keeping in with the style of the book, there was a lot of text that was aligned on the margins like so. Again, just trying to find a place where it could look nice. I'm gonna make it white, but within our colors, we have this kind of cream that I really like. So if we go to our library, there you go. And I'm going to do the same. Can I do this? So that's actually something that is a little tricky with libraries. Whenever you put in an AI, which is in vector, it's going to give it back as an image. So sometimes it's good to just have that logo in a vector file that you can then paste back in. So you can change its color. There you go. So depending on what you have to actually advertise with the book cover, most of the time there is a lot of content that goes on a cover. A lot of like descriptions specifically at the back because you want to give a synopsis of what the book is about. But because it's a zine and we get to make our own rules, we don't have to. Actually, let's see if I can find a better placement for this, or we can read it. That's better. Okay. And this here, this part will become the flap that's going to be folded inside in the inside cover right here. Now for the inside cover, I also want something that is going to be eclectic if you want, something that is going to be about like just defining kind of the mood of the entire zine. So my idea with this was to actually make a pattern with the logo. So I know I'm a little controversial with that because I don't use the pattern tool. That's because I love to have flexibility with the pattern itself, and you will see why at the very end. So I'm just going to copy this a few times. Using the align tool, I will make sure that everything is distant equally. I don't think I need it for that long. Hi, Jenna. Thank you so much for tuning in. Perfect. And I see Cody, who's just put a poll in the chat. So have you ever have you ever made a zine for science? There you go. Or added a YouTube. So, oh, there is another YouTube for you to watch. There you go. Again, in keeping with the design of the inside pages, I want to make that vertically aligned. And because this type of font is thick and a little in your face, and when we look at everything in the inside pages, it's really modern and clean and minimalistic, despite having very intense like images. It's a good contrast, which is a principle that we talked about. I actually want to use the outline only of this here. So just going to go into the stroke color, and there you go. And I'm going to group this and repeat it a few times. And I'm going to align this as well. This is what I like about having efficient ways of working, because we literally made a cover in 15 minutes using the libraries and knowing where we're going with that mood board. So I'm all about having a really good design, but at the same time, I love to have like obviously work and life balance, as anyone can imagine, which is hard sometimes. I won't lie to you. Being a designer, sometimes there's crazy deadlines or crazy requests at the very last minute. But if you can help yourself by just following a working process like so, then the more you do, the better you become with those processes. But it's definitely going to help you become a faster designer. Oh, thank you, Robert. And you can always watch the stream whenever, because it's on YouTube after. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I'm just going to go to trim view quickly just to kind of show you. This would be the outside. This would be the inside. It's still missing a little pizzazz, right? And pizzazz is like that word of the day. So how about that we actually have some contours of specific words with the colors that we have been using inside the book. So again, going to my libraries, I want to make sure that I have this stroke selected, and then I can just click on the colors and look at that. And this is also why I don't want to have everything locked in into a pattern, because I want to have that flexibility of doing whatever I want with it. So I'm just going to go out of that trim view just to make sure I'm not clicking on anything. And obviously this is all in a group. So I'm using my direct selection tool in order to select those words specifically. You need just to be a little kind of tidy with it. And I want to make sure that I have the equal amount of colors on both sides. And here, because I know that this is going to be flipped inside, we won't see this part, so I won't concentrate on that at all. But that also means that when this is flipped, it's going to hide a good portion of this section that we see here. So I won't concentrate on that part because I really want to make sure that we're seeing the colors that will be featured in the inside pages. So let's select that too. I'm just going to go over quickly to YouTube just to make sure. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. And I like to not follow like symmetry when it comes to this, when it's just like kind of a hint. Again, for pizzazz, I feel like it kind of has to be a little random. So even having two words side by side works, even if they're like almost similar color. Okay, so let's see how that looks like. So I want to make sure that this pops. So I'm going to add a background color because I feel like even for us, it's hard to see everything. So in my library, I have rich black, and now I'm gonna actually change that and have the, not the stroke selected, but the full color. There you go. And I'm going to bring that back to the back. And there you go. We can see kind of the vision here. I like when there's just a slight difference between the background and kind of just like a hint, because this was like the outline of the logos was more like a charcoal. But I want to bring your attention specifically, if you have not watched the last stream, this rich black is different than the actual black that you will have in your color palette. Rich black is has more ink to it and will come out darker than just the regular black, because the regular black, whenever it's printed, it's going to come out a little as charcoal because we're putting it on a white paper most of the time, right? So if you want to make sure to have that rich black, we can actually go and look at the CMYK component quickly. So if you look at here, it's 60% cyan, 40% magenta, 40% yellow, and 100% black. And this will come out darker and more as a black color if you're looking for that. All right, so now let's look at the trim view and what it looks like. So I'm pretty happy with this. And I also want to make sure that whenever you add glue, whenever you're sending this to the printer, there can't be ink where there's glue because the glue won't stick. So I've already taken the liberty of adding the some white edges here where the glue is supposed to be. And in your layers, you can see right here, glue. If you give that to your printer and you make sure that your design is on the design layer, then you will be good to go. It might, I mean, the printer might come back with some requirements. Every printer works differently, specifically on projects like this, but you should be okay. If not, well, send me a message and we can talk because I'd love to learn like new ways about this. So there we go. We have a cover. And now next, I would love to work on the postcards. So postcards are very fast to make. Now, again, the size of our zine is 5.5 by 7.5, but I want to make sure that it's going to fit perfectly within this flap here. So I'm actually going to make them 5 by 7. So then I have a little wiggle room and I won't have to force it into the little envelope that we are making. So let's go into my templates, and you can also have this downloaded if you want. Okay, so there's a lot of artboards here. Do not get worried with this. But here, basically, because I have 9 principles and I want to have a postcard for each of the principles from the inside pages. So thank you, Cody. So I want to make sure that we are showcasing those images for all of them. I'm going to make one and then show you how you can repeat that process very quickly in order to create 9 postcards in literally 10 minutes, maybe 15, depending. So here, again, being on the design layer, I'm going to make that shape a little like the same as what we did for the cover. Going to go here and do draw inside, go back into my folder where I have all of the images. I'll have to find it. Where is the balance one? Oh, it's here. Perfect. And it's a little huge right now, but that's okay because I actually want to have a close-up. We have done some funky close-ups in the inside pages, which was fun. And I think this gives it a different reading. And what I like about the postcards is that you can actually send that composition to someone, and then you'll see what I'm trying to do with the stickers. It's all going to come together. Again, trust the process. We don't have to go crazy at the back for the postcard. We want to leave room for people to actually compose a message. But we still want to make sure that the brand is transpiring through. So let's do something fun here where we're actually going to use some of the pattern that we have created right here. And again, what stays outside the artboard stays outside the artboard, right? We have seen that with the stream recently, which was really, really funny. And just to have kind of a little, we call that in French a rappel, just like a little wink of what we are doing with that zine. Just going to make that smaller. Going to make a square. I'm going to make the outline just a like flashy color so we can all see, but that's going to disappear as soon as we do that clipping mask. I actually want to make that smaller. And what if I gave this a little tilt, angle it a little bit, And I want to make sure that all of the corners have something inside. It's crazy. I don't know if you are seeing this too, but just the fact that I have tilted the pattern, it's like I'm seeing this square a little tilted as well. Maybe this is me getting old and my eyes are playing tricks on me, but that's what I'm seeing here. Also, just in case the outline is a little too big, when we bring that square a little smaller, I'm going to just lower the stroke like so. Okay, so I want to make sure everything is selected. Going to object, clipping mask, make. And then I have this fun little wink to the inside cover of our zine added onto the postcard. And see how that made it a little thicker when I like brought it down. Going back to our library, our libraries, I should say, we had this gradient that I absolutely loved from our last design with the inside pages. Just going to make sure it's basically the same height. So there you go. We have some kind of cool visual elements right here. Now I want to quickly add a space where we can add the address. And that I actually want to be a little thicker. So putting it back to 1 point for the stroke. Just going to copy that. So the amount of lines that you want to put, this is up to your discretion. I usually do 4, depending. I know that some addresses, depending on where you live, can be mega long. Maybe we can just make them a tad longer and actually give it a bit more room. What I like with the align tool is, let's say I don't have to move all of them. I can just move one and then it will align it within the first and last line. I select them all and I do distributes it evenly. And I'm going to group this. Now I'm going to group this as well. Going to center it. Because if we're going to talk about composition, we're going to talk a little bit about composing without a grid. We looked at grids last time and we were very strict about them. But whenever you're building something like this, like a postcard or something that is more of a standalone, I mean, it's not necessarily standalone because we have a lot, but we need to have some rules. And again, last time we talked about that our eyes like to align things without even knowing that it likes to align things. But this is the same principle for this here. So actually, this is a little too much inside. I'm going to ungroup it. There you go. I like that better. Just want to make sure it's centered, group it, and I'm going to center it with the postcard itself. I'm going to add a guide from the ruler right here, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. And I'm going to do the same right here. Now, because we are doing a close-up of the image that we are featuring in the zine that we created, and people may not know if they have not read the zine itself, or even if they are receiving that postcard. So we want to anchor them a little bit. So we're going to add just a tiny bit of text. This one was balance. And we're going to put that in Elsa text. Oops, it did not do that. Again, in all caps and bolded. Again, we'll do it vertically aligned. My bad with that. And we're going to place it outside that guide here. Let me just do a quick trim view so I can show you. Even though it's not aligned inside with the address spot, our eyes know that it's aligned, even though there's no lines there and it's like outside. So it's really important that whenever you're doing your design composition like so, that you actually find stuff to align other elements with, specifically if you're not planning on being symmetrical. Just your viewers will be more happy that way. And I also want to make sure that this, because it's placed on that side, that is actually aligned to the right. It's not going to do anything much for this, but you'll see as we carry along to the other postcards, it will make a lot more sense. I'm just going to come out of the trim view and I'm just going to copy that, turn that around. And of course, we want to take credit for the work. So let's say designed by Izzy Poirier. And this I'm actually going to justify to the left, but make it just a tad up. Hey Barkley, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, I'm actually going to remove those guides because I want to take everything, group it, and actually center it. I just want to make sure, oops, I was not clicked in the proper artboard. I just want to make sure everything is centered. So this is good. Okay. Now we don't have a master page like we do in InDesign. This is something that if I had my way, I would have a master page in Illustrator, and there's maybe a way that I have not figured out yet. If you know about that in the chat, please let me know, but I don't think it has. So I'm going to copy this, click on the next artboard here. And if you want to paste in place, it's really easy. You just need to do Command, Shift, and V. And it's at the exact same place as the other artboards. Oops, I did something that I did not want to do. And that's okay. And you'll see now as here, I'm going to be adding in an other image to this. And a very easy way to replace the image here is to actually go into your links panel. If your link panel isn't on the side, you can always go to window and then links and it will appear. And I just want to make sure that the image that I want to change is selected. And I can actually click on that relink button here, which brings me into my folder where all of the images are. And I'm going to go select the rhythm or whichever one we want to have here. It actually kept the same proportions as what we had before. And now we can just reshape it, rescale it however we want, like so. So you can see how this is like a very efficient way of creating some postcards, specifically if you're looking for unity. And here, let's say it's rhythm, and I always write that wrong. We'll say it's repetition. And because we have aligned the text to the right, this is never going to move. If it was aligned to the left, the word will actually go up, right? Because it's going to stick at the same place on this side. But now, because we're saying, please adjust it to the right, it's always going to stay here. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but I think you get what I'm trying to do. So this here would be your full postcards. Super easy. Just going to save that quickly, and I'm going to show you the final of that. Postcard, I know. It's a heavy file, so there you go. You can see how everything looks. I'm going to there you go. Again, we did that in what, 15 minutes? It's crazy. Super fast. Okay, so now where it gets a little trickier, it's with the sticker sheet. Now, the way that we are going to build this sticker sheet to add is you can technically use the same way to build like a separate sticker sheet if you just wanted to have that on its own. But in this instance, we actually want to build it to be added in as part of a page, right? Like inside the zine. So it's going to be like a full page that's going to be folded. And it's probably going to be at the very top, right? So you have your cover and then you have that sticker page, which means the first page will be a sticker page and then your last page will be a sticker sheet. So we need to be smart about what we're going to put, and it has to be very vibrant, and it has to also match with that inside cover. It's going to be very loud, but again, because the inside pages are very minimalistic and clean, I think we can allow ourselves to be just a little bit more kind of crazy with that sticker sheet. Okay, so here, as you can see, I have added 2 artboards side by side. And the way that you can do this, let's say if you have not downloaded the template, because this is also available to you for you to download, you can just go into your artboard tool here and just move it around. This is, again, 5.5 by 7.5 with bleed, but you can just bring it in that way so it's perfectly aligned with the other canvas. The reason why I did it that way, it's just because depending on, this is for the printer mostly, because it's going to be outside, they might want to be playing with this space in between, depending on how thick that big, pile of paper is going to be folded together. It's also a way for you to just be working like separately if you're thinking of doing 2 different sticker sheets, or if you want to make it into one. So let's have fun with this. Now, I was thinking that since that we are having postcards as the added swag, pizzazz to our zine, that maybe having stickers as a stamp could be very interesting. And again, it would allow us to have kind of a focal point on specific points of the images that we have designed. So in order to do this, to have a stamp shape, we are going to do a square, and we're going to make sure that we'll have a copy of that square as well. I just want to have the outline. I don't want to have any colors inside. For one of those square, I want to go into my properties panel and into, you see there's 3 dots here for the strokes. That's actually not what I wanted. Hold on. Let me go here instead. There you go. If I go into window, into the stroke panel, I'm just going to pull it out here. You can see here that there's a dash line. So I want to check that and see what happens when I check that. Now, depending if you have added some values in here or not, you may see some something happen or not. But usually it's going to be like a dash line. So I just want to make sure that this is a little thicker. And as you can see, right now it's squares, and we actually want to have a circle in order to create kind of that edge of a stamp. So I'm going to make sure that this is selected, and at the cap here, select the round one. So then we have a circle like so. You can play with the placement right here if you wanted to have it further. I have 40 points like as the gap. We can actually make that in maybe like 30 just to show. And this here, it's repeated if ever you want to have a symmetric dotted line or not. But here I actually want to have a symmetric one. So I'm going to repeat the same metrics with the gaps. So this is looking quite good. If you wanted to have it a bit more rounded, you just need to play with it. But for the sake of this stream, and I'm being mindful of the time here, we're going to use this. And I'm going to go to object and then expand appearance. And I'm just going to do it another time so there is no stroke. And now I'm actually going to fill in this shape. Remove the stroke. You'll see it's all going to make sense. I'm going to align those two shapes and use the Pathfinder. I always like to use the one that actually breaks down everything. So then I have, again, a lot more control. I'm going to ungroup this. And as you can see, I have somewhat of a stamp shape, which I kind of like. That is a little weird because I think it fits with the aesthetics of our zine. Okay, so here with the document that I have given you, if I go to the layers panel, same thing, I have the die cut. So basically this is where, I'm not on the proper layer at the moment. This is where you're going to have like your shapes and the design will be here. So here, I actually want to do the same on the design layer and do draw inside and then bring an image. And I want to have something that doesn't have that much like kind of shape. So I have to make sure that the image that I choose is going to work for this. How about this one here? There you go. To scale this down. Like so, and I'm actually going to just leave this like that and lock it. And then go here, I have my stamp shape. In order to give the die cut to the printer, you need to make sure that it's like a very distinct color so they can see the shape that you are like giving the outline for the machine to also recognize it. It's very important that it's on a separate layer. And for some reason now I'm having a gray. So actually, let's just go here. Let's see. That's going to change. Where's my color panel? There you go. Just going to make that again super flashy. And going to make that a little thicker for you. And I'm going to bring down the opacity just so you can see what I'm doing. And you can also work like that for you to see what you're doing there, just because the images are very busy. Going back onto my layers panel. And here again, just going to make kind of that pattern, or you can even make it like bigger. And you can add some other shapes and you can go crazy with what you want to do for your sticker sheets here. So let's just make that quickly. This was a very jam-packed session, but again, if you put a lot of work into your process and build your libraries and all that, it just makes it so much easier to work efficiently, like so. So I think you're getting the concept of what this is going to look like. So these here inside, like the pink line would be your sticker. Let me just put that layer. So much info. Yes, Cody, it was a lot of info. Maybe you have to rewatch this stream a few times to just understand everything. But here, let me put that back so we can kind of have an idea of how everything is going to look like. So see, like the inside here would be that sticker. I actually have a final version of the sticker sheet, so you can, where I have actually darkens the parts that, you know, see, like these were my shapes and this would be the die cut, but I added that black. So this is what the people would see with that sticker sheet whenever it's like wrapping around inside that zine. I have also added some dots here with the same colors that we have with the color palette of the zine. I think I may have been inspired by Yayoi Kusama because I saw some of her pieces at the SF Museum really recently. So this would be that. So basically, what I'm inviting you to do today is you can either do all of these process on its own. It doesn't have to be associated with a zine, but it can definitely be added to the zine experience. And this is how you create that pizzazz, right? Whenever people buy a book, these days, they are no longer only looking to read. Of course, they want to read the content, but they're also looking to like reinvent that experience and have like that feeling that comes along with it. So if you're giving away some stickers, some postcards as part of the experience, they will feel like they have more, and they will feel like they basically like have a whole experience and they got more for their money. So it's always something to keep in mind for the audience that you're designing for. So, all right, let's go back to the presentation where there's like just a little bit of information on the content cover here. You can see the final design for the postcards. If you need some inspiration, the sticker sheet. It looks like so much better when it's like this, so you can imagine it more. This was the third show of the season, and as we are wrapping up, I want to give you the word that you should be adding into the chat in order to win that zine. So let's do stickers. Stickers is the word of the day for you to win that zine. So I'll wait for that to come in the chat. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you want to see more of those creations with Creative the Zine, you can actually go back to season 1 where we have created a foldable zine with CJ right here, Little Juice, which was super fun. And also you can find some more of my projects on Behance. Feel free to follow me here. So Clever Devlin, you are the winner for today. So make sure to message me either on Instagram or Behance, and I will get that zine over to you. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end. And there you go. Here is my Instagram handle where you can follow me. And until next time on February 20th, we will be designing social media assets with Illustrator and Adobe Express in order to, again, extend the experience from that zine onto social media. It's going to be super fun. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to watch Adobe Live. There's always something on, there's always something streaming, and it's been a wonderful time being with you. Bye, everyone.